The housewarming party in my $500,000 condo had 30 guests, everyone except the person who paid for it. My name is Isabel Norris, and I'm 32 years old. What I'm about to tell you might sound like revenge, but it's really about the moment I finally learned that setting boundaries with family isn't cruel, it's survival. When your own parents throw a celebration in the home you purchased, deliberately exclude you, and your sister publicly mocks you for being just the wallet, sometimes the law is your only ally. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I never thought I'd need a lawyer to deal with my own family, but standing in that doorway with legal documents in hand, watching their faces change from smugness to shock, that was the day I stopped being their doormat. Growing up, I was always the responsible one. While my younger sister Amy posted selfies and built her influencer brand, I studied accounting, landed a steady job, and quietly paid for Dad's heart surgery when his insurance fell short. Mom never thanked me. She was too busy reposting Amy's Instagram stories about our blessed family life. The first real sign I was being taken for granted came last year at Dad's 60th birthday. I'd offered to plan everything, even put down a deposit at his favorite steakhouse. 3 days before, Mom called. "Sweetheart, Amy wants to do something more intimate, just immediate family. You understand, don't you? Amy needs this more than you do." I wasn't invited to my own father's birthday dinner. Amy had borrowed, no taken, $15,000 from me over the years. For my startup, she'd say, for networking events. The money vanished into designer bags and vacation posts tagged #entrepreneur life. Each time I asked about repayment, Mom would intervene. Family doesn't keep score, Isabel. But they did keep score. Amy got the praise, the attention, the social media shoutouts as the successful daughter. I got the bills. When Mom called that winter about their rent increase, I could hear the practiced worry in her voice. Your father's pension isn't enough anymore, and Amy, well, she's still building her empire. She paused, letting the silence do its work. We might have to move to a cheaper neighborhood, away from the doctors Dad needs. I knew what she was doing. I also knew I'd cave, because that's what I did. I fixed things quietly while Amy took the spotlight. But this time, something felt different. This time, I was going to protect myself, even if they didn't know it yet. The exploitation escalated after Dad's health scare. When I covered his 3-day ICU stay, $28,000 that insurance wouldn't touch, Amy posted a tearful video about our family's strength that got 50,000 views. She monetized it. Mom commented underneath, "So proud of my baby girl for supporting us through this." Not one mention of who actually paid. The final insult came at our cousin Rachel's wedding. I'd RSVP'd months ago, even bought a new dress. The morning of, Mom texted, "Don't come to the ceremony. Amy's bringing someone important for her career. We need your seat." I sat in my apartment that night, scrolling through the wedding photos. Amy glowing in a $2,000 dress, Mom captioning it, "My successful daughter lighting up the room." In the background of one shot, I spotted the important someone, just another influencer with a blue checkmark. Amy's image is important for her career, Mom explained later. You wouldn't understand. But I understood perfectly. I understood that my 12 years of perfect credit, my 6-figure salary, my reliability, none of it mattered. I was the ATM, not the daughter. Amy was the investment. I was the funding source. My ex-boyfriend Marcus had seen it before I did. "They don't visit you," he'd said before walking away. "They make withdrawals." I defended them then, called him cruel. 6 months later, alone in my paid-off car outside my rented apartment, I finally admitted he was right. That's when I decided to buy them a condo, not out of love, out of exhaustion. If I gave them something big enough, maybe they'd finally have enough. Maybe I'd finally have peace. I should have known better. Parasites don't stop feeding just because they're full. The condo hunting started in January. I told myself it was purely practical, better to own than watch rent money disappear. But really, I was buying my freedom. One massive payment to end the constant request. I found the perfect place in 3 weeks. Downtown high-rise, 15th floor, 2 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. $500,000. My entire decade of savings plus a mortgage that would take 15 years to clear. It's too much, my financial advisor warned. You're 32. What about your own future? Marriage? Kids? This is my future, I lied. The seller's agent kept asking if my parents would be co-signing. No, I said firmly. This is entirely in my name. She looked confused but processed the paperwork. That's when James Mitchell entered the picture. My company's legal department recommended him for the closing. Tall, mid-40s, the kind of lawyer who wore cufflinks and actually pulled them off. He reviewed the papers with unusual thoroughness. Interesting situation, he said carefully. You're purchasing a loan, but your parents will be living there? It's a gift. His pen stopped moving. Ms. Norris, gifts of this magnitude, there are ways to structure them. Protections you should consider. They're my parents. I understand. He pulled out a different folder. But humor me. What if we set up a revocable trust? You maintain ownership, they have right of residence. Standard family estate planning. Is that necessary? Mr. Mitchell adjusted his glasses. A tell, I'd learn later, that meant he was choosing his words carefully. Let's just say I've seen grateful families become entitled tenants. The trust includes certain provisions. Clause 7B, for instance, addresses usage violations. I signed it, thinking I'd never need it. 3 months later, staring at Amy's Instagram story, I'd thank God for James Mitchell's paranoia. The numbers haunted me at night. $500,000. Not just money, but 10 years of 70-hour weeks, skipped vacations, ramen dinners when I could have afforded better. My emergency fund, gone. My retirement, leveraged. My dreams of starting my own firm, postponed indefinitely. If I stayed silent about the betrayal, I'd lose more than money. I'd lose myself. You're 32 and single, Amy had sneered at Christmas. At least contributing to the family gives your life meaning. Mom had laughed. Dad had said nothing. I'd smiled and poured another wine, each sip tasting like surrender. The family narrative was already written. Isabel the spinster, Isabel the worker bee, Isabel the one who should be grateful we even include her. If I didn't act now, that story would become my epitaph. Then there were the whispers. Cousin Rachel had pulled me aside at New Year's. Everyone knows you pay for everything. They call you the bank at family gatherings. She meant it kindly, but her pity stung worse than mockery. If you don't help family, what kind of person are you? Mom always said. But what kind of person was I becoming? Marcus left because I canceled our anniversary dinner to wire Amy rent money. My best friend Sarah stopped calling after I missed her wedding planning to handle Dad's medical bills. I was hollowing myself out to fill them up. The worst part? Amy was planning something bigger. I'd overheard her on a call. My investor is locked in. She doesn't know it yet, but the funding's guaranteed. She meant me. She was already spending money she assumed I'd give. If I didn't draw the line now, where would it end? With me bankrupt at 40, alone at 50, dead at 60 with nothing but receipts to show for my life? No, not anymore. Not. The family pressure came from all angles. At Easter dinner, Aunt Patricia gushed about Amy's business acumen while I carved the turkey I'd bought. She's going to be famous, Patricia announced. Already has 30,000 followers. Isabel has a real job, Grandma offered weakly. Anyone can be an accountant, Amy laughed. It takes talent to build a brand. The table nodded in agreement. I excused myself to the bathroom and stood there gripping the sink, reading my bank balance. 6 figures earned, 5 figures left after supporting them. Amy's brand had cost me everything. Uncle Tony cornered me loading the dishwasher. You're lucky, he said. Amy brings prestige to the family name. You get to be part of that. Behind him, Amy live-streamed herself in the designer jacket I'd bought her for job interviews. The breaking point came through a group text from Mom to the extended family. So proud that Amy's moving into her new luxury condo. A true success story. 17 heart emojis. 23 congratulations. Amy replied with champagne emojis and blessed. I typed, actually, then deleted it. What was the point? The story was already written. Amy, the star. Me, the stage crew. My phone buzzed. Sarah, my estranged best friend. Saw your mom's post. You bought that place, didn't you? How did you know? Because you've been buying Amy's life since college. When does it stop, Is? I stared at her message. When does it stop? When I'm 60, bitter and broke? When Amy's kids call me asking for college tuition? When I die alone because I gave my life away in installments? Soon, I typed back. I didn't know how right I was. The universe was about to hand me my answer through an Instagram story. If you've ever felt taken for granted by your own family, hit that subscribe button. I'm curious, what would you do if your family threw a party in a house you paid for but didn't invite you? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and your stories help me feel less alone in this. Now let me tell you what happened when I found out about the party. Because finding out through Instagram, that hit different. That changed everything. Back to that horrible Saturday morning. Saturday morning, coffee in hand, scrolling through Instagram like any other weekend. Then Rachel's story popped up. Champagne glasses clinking, marble countertops I recognized. And the caption, Amy's housewarming. This place is insane. My coffee mug slipped. Brown liquid spread across my white carpet, but I couldn't move. I clicked through more stories. 30 people minimum, catered food, a banner reading, "Congratulations, Amy, on your new home." In the background of one video, Mom raised a glass. To our baby girl who worked so hard for this. My hands shook as I switched to Amy's profile. Her latest post, uploaded an hour ago, showed her on the balcony I'd chosen for the sunrise views. Dreams do come true. So grateful for my new home. Blessed beyond measure. Hashtag self-made, had luxury living, hashtag boss lady. The comments poured in. Queen, you deserve this. Inspiration, how did you afford this at 28? Your parents must be so proud. One comment stopped my heart. From our mutual acquaintance, didn't your sister buy this? Amy's reply, my sister helps sometimes, but this is all me. I called Mom immediately. She answered on the fourth ring, party noise in the background. Oh, Isabel, what is it? The party, the housewarming. Why wasn't I? Amy needed this for her image. You know how important her career is. I bought that condo! Silence. Then carefully. You bought it for the family. Don't be selfish, Isabel. Selfish? I'm being called selfish? Look, Amy's networking right now. Important people are here. Your presence would complicate the narrative. The narrative? That Amy's successful. These people don't need to know about the financial details. I hung up, but the phone immediately buzzed with texts from Amy. The first one made my decision for me. My phone lit up with Amy's messages. Mom says you're upset? Don't be such a baby. It's not like you were gonna use it anyway, I called her. She answered with laughter in her voice. Oh my God, are you seriously mad right now? You told people you bought it yourself. I manifested it, same thing. I paid $500,000. And? You have the money. I have the vision. I'm the one who makes this family look good. Amy, I want you out. She laughed harder. Out of what? My home? The one Mom and Dad gave me? I have the deed. You have paper. We have possession. Good luck explaining to everyone why you're evicting your own parents. Her voice dropped, venomous. Besides, you already signed it over to us. Dad showed me the trust thing. That's not what that means. Whatever helps you sleep alone at night, sis. Amy, look, I have guests. Real successful people. Not bitter accountants who think buying something means owning it. She paused. You want some advice? Know your place. You're the wallet, not the winner. Always have been. Before I could respond, I heard Mom grab the phone. Isabel, stop this nonsense immediately. Mom, she's lying to everyone. She's building her future. What are you building? Nothing. You're 32, single, boring. At least supporting Amy gives your pathetic life purpose. My pathetic life paid for that condo. And we're grateful, but gratitude doesn't mean ownership. You did what family does. Now stop embarrassing yourself and us. If I show up, you won't. Because if you ruin this for Amy, you're no longer welcome in this family. Period. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, then at my laptop. Then I opened my email and typed, Mr. Mitchell, I need to discuss Clause 7B, urgently. Amy wasn't done. She switched to voice messages, each one crueler than the last. You know what your problem is? You think money makes you important. It doesn't. You're just the help that pays itself. Mom's showing everyone my room right now, the master bedroom, with the ensuite you'll never need because let's be real, who's gonna marry you? Oh my God, Jessica just asked if you're coming. I told her you don't really do social events. She said that makes sense. Even strangers know you're pathetic. The final message came with a video. Amy had gathered a group around her, all holding champagne. Toast time, she announced, to my sister Isabel, who pays for everything and gets nothing. The family ATM. May she never run out of money or delusions that we actually care. The group laughed. Some uncomfortably, but they all laughed. I recognized several faces, relatives, family friends, people who'd eaten at my table. Seriously though, Amy continued, she thinks because she paid, she owns it. Like, sweetie, you were just the credit card. This is my manifestation. She's probably at home right now crying into her spreadsheets. More laughter. Mom's voice in the background. Amy, be nice. She means well. She means well, Amy mimicked. That's literally all she has going for her. She means well and has direct deposit. Uncle Tony chimed in. Where is Isabel anyway? Working, probably, Amy smirked. That's all she does. Work, pay, repeat. It's actually sad. We're doing her a favor, giving her purpose. To purpose! Someone shouted. To my new condo, Amy corrected, and they all drank. I saved every video. Mr. Mitchell would later call them Exhibit A through F. But in that moment, they were just evidence that my family saw me as nothing more than a checkbook with feelings they didn't respect. Mr. Mitchell called back within 10 minutes. Ms. Norris, I've been expecting this call. You have? I've been doing this 20 years. The grateful family that becomes entitled? I've seen it dozens of times. That's why I insisted on the trust structure. Clause 7B. What exactly does it say? I heard papers rustling. The trust can be revoked if the property is used in any manner that misrepresents ownership, creates fraudulent claims, or violates the trustor's intended use. He paused. Your sister claiming she owns it publicly? That's fraud. Your parents hosting events that exclude you, the actual owner? Clear violation. So You can revoke the trust immediately. They would have 30 days to vacate before formal eviction proceedings. My hands trembled. Is it really that simple? The law is simple. The emotions aren't. His voice softened. I included something else. Section 7B, subsection 3. If trust is revoked due to violation, trustor maintains right to provide alternative housing assistance at their discretion. Why would I help them after this? Because you're not them. The clause lets you offer help on your terms, not theirs. Maybe a rental assistance program. Maybe nothing. Your choice. They'll fight it. They can try, but the documentation is ironclad. Your name on the deed, the trust clearly stating temporary residence rights, not ownership. Their own social media posts proving fraudulent claims. He paused. Ms. Norris, I record all my client meetings. I have you on tape saying this was temporary housing assistance, not a transfer of ownership. You knew this would happen. I suspected. Your family dynamic during the signing, let's say it raised red flags. What do you recommend? Show up with me, publicly. Make it clear this isn't emotional, it's legal, and Ms. Norris, bring copies of everything. When? How about now? I'm free this afternoon. I spent the next hour gathering evidence with surgical precision. Screenshots of Amy's posts claiming ownership, Mom's Facebook announcement about gifting Amy the condo, the voice messages, all saved and backed up to 3 different clouds. Mr. Mitchell arrived at my apartment in a navy suit that screamed authority. He reviewed everything with the focus of a surgeon. This is more than enough, he said, organizing papers into a leather folder. The fraudulent misrepresentation alone would be sufficient, but the exclusion from the property you own? That's deliberate malicious violation. They'll say I'm being petty. You're being lawful. There's a difference. He pulled out his tablet. I've drafted the revocation notice. Standard language, but I added something. A criminal fraud warning. If Amy continues claiming ownership after notification, she could face charges. Criminal? She's monetizing false ownership claims. That's wire fraud if any money changed hands based on her lies. He showed me her Instagram. This sponsored post from her new home? That's evidence. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Someone just sent me Amy's story. She's giving a house tour, calling herself a property mogul. This is insane. I showed Mitchell. He actually smiled. She's making our case for us. Ms. Norris, I need to ask. Are you prepared for the fallout? Family relationships might not survive this. What relationship? I'm their bank account. Fair point. He stood. Shall we go reclaim your property? Won't we need police? Not yet. I find that arriving with legal authority and documentation works better than force. Besides, he checked his phone, I know Judge Harrison is on call this weekend. If they resist, we can have an emergency order within an hour. You've thought of everything. It's my job. Your job is to stay calm and let me handle the legal aspects. Don't argue, don't explain, don't justify. Just be present while justice happens. The building's concierge recognized me immediately. Ms. Norris, I didn't see you go up earlier. Your family's party sounds wonderful. I'm just arriving now, Thomas. His face shifted, confusion, then understanding. Ah, well, you're on the owner list, of course. No key needed. The elevator ride felt eternal. 15 floors of my heart hammering against my ribs. Mr. Mitchell stood beside me, calm as stone. Remember, he said quietly, you own this property. You have every right to enter. The party noise hit us before the doors opened. Laughter, music, the clink of glasses, my home, my money being celebrated without me. I turned my key in the lock. The door swung open to reveal 30 faces turning in unison. The music scratched to a stop. Amy stood in the center, holding court in a designer dress, champagne flute raised. Her face went from animated to frozen in an instant. What the hell? Hello, everyone, I said, stepping inside. I'm Isabel Norris, the actual owner of this condo. Mom rushed forward, her face flushed. Isabel, this is not the time. It's exactly the time. You need to leave, now. From my own property? The guests started murmuring. Phones appeared in hands, everyone sensing drama worth recording. Amy recovered first, forcing a laugh. Everyone, this is my sister. She's confused. She helped with the down payment, and now she thinks, I paid the entire amount, $500,000. The deed is in my name. Isabel, stop lying. Mr. Mitchell stepped forward. The entire room shifted. There's something about a lawyer's presence that changes atmosphere. Suddenly, everyone knew this wasn't family drama anymore. Good afternoon. I'm James Mitchell, attorney representing Ms. Norris. He let that sink in. We need everyone to listen very carefully to what happens next. Amy's recovery was swift and vicious. She turned to her audience with practiced tears. Everyone, I'm so sorry you have to see this. This is my sister Isabel. She's always been jealous of my success. She dabbed her eyes carefully, preserving her makeup. She helps with family expenses sometimes and thinks that makes her special. A few guests looked uncomfortable, but others nodded sympathetically. Amy had practiced playing the victim. She's just the family accountant, Amy continued, voice dripping pity. She doesn't understand that success isn't about money, it's about influence. I have 30,000 followers. She has a calculator. Someone laughed. The sound hit like a slap. Tell them the truth, Amy, I said calmly. Tell them who paid for this condo. We all contribute to this family, but some of us contribute more than money. I contribute prestige, connections, opportunity. She contributes nothing, I interrupted. She's taken $15,000 from me, never repaid a cent. She's been lying to all of you. Amy's mask slipped. At least I'm not a pathetic spinster who has to buy love. Gasps rippled through the crowd. You're 32 and alone, Amy pressed on, sensing blood. You think money makes you matter? It doesn't. You're just the help that pays itself. A walking ATM with no life, no friends, no future. Ms. Smith, Mr. Mitchell's voice cut through like ice. I'd advise you to stop talking. Defamation is also actionable. Amy whirled on him. Who the hell are you? As I said, Ms. Norris's attorney, and we're here on legal business. The room went silent, real silent. The kind where you can hear champagne bubbles popping. Uncle Tony spoke first. Isabel, what's going on? The truth, I said simply. Something this family isn't used to. Dad finally stood up from his corner chair. In 10 years, I could count on one hand the times he'd confronted me directly. This was about to be one of them. Isabel, you're embarrassing yourself and this family. I'm embarrassing myself? Walking in here with a lawyer? Causing a scene? This isn't how we raised you. You raised me to be the family piggy bank. Congratulations, it worked. Mom grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. We need to talk, privately, now. No. Isabel Marie Norris. Everything that needs to be said will be said right here, in front of everyone. I pulled free. You threw a party in my home and told people it was Amy's. That ends today. Your home? Mom's voice pitched high. We're your parents. We changed your diapers, and this is how you repay us? I repaid you with $500,000. That was a gift. To live in, not to steal. The relatives started choosing sides. Aunt Patricia tutted loudly. Isabel, family doesn't act this way. Family doesn't lie about ownership of $500,000 properties either, I shot back. Cousin Rachel, surprising everyone, spoke up. Actually, I want to hear what the lawyer has to say. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell nodded. This won't take long. Dad tried once more, his voice dropping to the disappointed tone that used to break me. Isabel, we're your parents. Whatever issues we have, we handle them as a family. Send this man away. No, I'm not asking. And I'm not the little girl you can guilt into silence anymore. Amy smirked. You never grew up, did you? Still desperate for Daddy's approval. Ms. Smith, Mitchell warned, I really must insist you stop talking. But Amy was beyond stopping. She thought she'd won. She was wrong. At this point, 30 people were staring at me like I was the villain. Have you ever been in a situation where standing up for yourself made you look like the bad guy? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you want to see how I turned this situation around, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Because what happened next? Nobody saw it coming. Not Amy with all her influence, not Mom with all her manipulation, not even Dad with his disappointment. Mr. Mitchell was about to change everything with just a few pieces of paper. Mr. Mitchell stepped into the center of the room with the kind of authority that made everyone automatically step back. He set his briefcase on Amy's champagne table, my glass table, and clicked it open. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for interrupting your celebration. However, there are legal matters that require immediate attention. This is a private party, Amy snapped. You can't. Actually, Ms. Smith, I can. This property belongs to my client, Ms. Isabel Norris. She has every right to be here and to have legal representation present. He pulled out a folder, thick with documents. Who are you exactly? Uncle Tony asked. James Mitchell, senior partner at Mitchell, Hayes & Associates. We specialize in real estate law and trust administration. The room shifted. This wasn't some cheap lawyer. This was serious. Mom tried damage control. This is a family misunderstanding. No, Mrs. Smith, this is fraud. The word hung in the air like a weapon. How dare you? Your daughter Amy has been publicly claiming ownership of this property. She's monetized that false claim through sponsored content. That's wire fraud. Your own posts about gifting her this condo constitute conspiracy to commit fraud. Amy went pale under her contour. That's ridiculous. Is it? I have screenshots of 17 posts where you claim to own this property. 3 sponsored partnerships leveraging this your home. Bank records showing you've never made a single payment. And a trust document you clearly never read. He turned to address everyone. What you're about to witness is the legal revocation of a trust agreement due to gross violation of terms. I'd suggest those of you recording continue to do so. This is now a matter of public record. Dad stood up. You can't just... Sir, with all due respect, yes, we can. I stepped forward, my voice steady as I'd practiced in the car. I purchased this condo 4 months ago. $500,000. My name is on the deed, the mortgage, every single document. I pulled out my folder, holding up each paper. Here's the deed, the closing statement, the mortgage approval, all in my name. Only my name. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Someone whispered, "Holy shit, she really did buy it." My parents asked to live here temporarily. I agreed and set up a trust allowing them residence rights, not ownership. Never ownership. That's not true, Amy shrieked. Mom, tell them. Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I continued. Every piece of furniture, every appliance, every glass you're drinking from, I paid for it. The trust was meant to help my parents, not enable my sister's fraud. Rachel stepped closer, her phone still recording. Amy, you said you bought this place. You gave us a tour talking about your investment strategies. I manifested it. That's not how property law works, Mr. Mitchell said dryly. Uncle Tony looked between us all. Margaret, Robert, is this true? Isabel bought this place? Dad's silence was answer enough. But Amy's been posting about her new condo for weeks, Aunt Patricia said slowly. She did a whole series about young entrepreneurs and real estate. Based on lies, I said simply. Complete lies. Amy grabbed her phone, frantically deleting posts. This is entrapment or something. No, Mitchell corrected. This is consequences. The room had completely turned. The same people who'd laughed at Amy's toast were now looking at her with disgust. Several were already typing on their phones. The social media trial had begun. Isabel, Mom pleaded, let's discuss this privately. We're past that, way past that. Mr. Mitchell pulled out the trust document, his reading glasses reflecting the track lighting I'd personally selected. I'll now read the relevant section, Clause 7B of the Norris Family Trust, established April 15, 2024. Amy lunged for the papers. You can't, Ms. Smith. Interference with legal proceedings is obstruction. Please step back. 2 of the larger male cousins actually moved to block Amy. The tide had completely turned. Mitchell continued. Clause 7B states, this trust may be immediately revoked if the beneficiaries engage in any of the following. A. Misrepresentation of property ownership. B. Fraudulent claims regarding the trust assets. C. Exclusion of the truster from reasonable access to said property. Or D. Use of property in manner contradictory to stated intent of temporary housing assistance. He looked up. Your family has violated all four provisions. That's impossible, Mom shrieked. Shall I elaborate? A. Amy's multiple public claims of ownership. B. Sponsored posts monetizing false ownership. C. Today's party specifically excluding Ms. Norris. D. Converting temporary housing into Amy's permanent branded residence. He pulled out his tablet showing Amy's Instagram. This post from 2 hours ago. Living my best life in my luxury condo. That alone triggers revocation. We didn't know, Dad protested. You signed the document. Legal ignorance isn't a defense. Mitchell turned to me. Ms. Norris, would you like to formally execute the revocation? Yes. Wait, Amy screamed. You can't just kick us out. We live here. Temporarily, as guests. That ends now. Mitchell pulled out another document. This is the formal notice of trust revocation. Effective immediately, you have 30 days to vacate the premises. Day 31, eviction proceedings begin. The silence was absolute. Then Amy said the stupidest thing possible. I'll sue you for this. Mitchell actually smiled. Please do. I took the revocation notice from Mitchell and read it aloud, my voice carrying across the silent room. As of today, October 15, 2024, at 4:47 p.m., I am formally revoking the Norris Family Trust due to multiple violations of terms. My parents, Robert and Margaret Smith, and Amy Smith, have 30 days to vacate this property. You can't do this, Mom wailed. We're family. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't humiliate each other for Instagram likes. But where will we go? Dad's voice cracked, the first real emotion I'd heard from him in years. I've arranged for a rental assistance program, I said, surprising even Mitchell. 2-bedroom apartment in Riverside. I'll cover 6 months' rent. After that, you're on your own. Riverside? Amy spat. That's suburban. It's appropriate for your actual budget. This is illegal. Amy turned to the crowd. You're all witnesses. She's evicting her own parents. From property she owns and pays for, Rachel said quietly. After you lied about owning it. The family fracture was visible now. Half looked appalled at me, half at Amy, but I didn't care about their opinions anymore. Mitchell handed copies to my parents and Amy. These are your official notices. The date and time are stamped. 30 days from now is November 14th. I suggest you begin packing immediately. I'm calling a lawyer, Amy threatened. Please do. Have them contact my office. Mitchell handed her his card. Fair warning. If you continue claiming ownership after this notice, that's criminal fraud, prosecutable, federal, if you've crossed state lines with your sponsored content. Amy's phone clattered to the floor. Also, Mitchell added, any damage to this property during your remaining 30 days will result in immediate eviction and criminal charges. This is insane, Mom whispered. No, I said. This is overdue. The begging started immediately. Mom fell to her knees. Actually fell to her knees, grabbing at my jacket. Isabel, please. You can't do this. I'm your mother. I gave birth to you. And I gave you a free luxury condo. We're even. How can you be so cruel? Ask Amy. She's the one who called me a walking ATM an hour ago. Amy switched tactics, tears streaming perfectly down her cheeks without disturbing her makeup. Izzy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean those things. I was just performing. You know how social media is. I know how you are. Dad tried the practical approach. Isabel, think about this rationally. The family reputation. What reputation? The one where Amy's successful and I'm invisible? That reputation? The neighbors will talk. Let them. Uncle Tony stepped forward. Isabel, surely we can work this out. Family doesn't what? Doesn't hold people accountable? Doesn't expect honesty? Doesn't demand basic respect? I looked around the room. Every single person here knew I paid for this place. Not one of you said anything when Amy lied. Guilty faces looked away. But we're old, Mom wailed. Your father has health issues. Which is why I'm providing 6 months of rental assistance. That's more than you deserve. Amy has nowhere to go. Amy has 30,000 followers. Maybe one of them has a couch. Amy's mask finally cracked completely. You jealous bitch! You're destroying my career. No, your lies destroyed your career. I'm just exposing them. I'll ruin you. I'll tell everyone what kind of person you really are. Mitchell stepped forward. Ms. Smith, threats are also actionable. I'm recording this entire interaction. Amy's mouth snapped shut. Isabel, Dad said quietly, is there nothing we can say? You could try thank you or sorry, but it's too late for either to matter. I turned to address the room one final time. For anyone wondering, the locks will be changed November 15th. The building management has been notified. Security has been informed. I pulled out my phone, showing them all. I've already filed the paperwork. This is done. Isabel, wait. Mom reached for me again. No, no more waiting. No more being understanding. No more being the family doormat. I stepped back. 30 days, not 3130. Mitchell gathered his documents. My office will handle all further communication. Do not contact Ms. Norris directly. Any harassment will result in restraining orders. We walked toward the door. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Rachel caught my arm gently. Izzy, I'm proud of you. Thanks. I should have said something sooner about how they treated you. Yeah, you should have. At the door, I turned back one last time. The party was destroyed. Food sat untouched. Champagne went flat in glasses. Amy stood in the center of it all, her carefully curated image in ruins. Oh, and Amy? I called out. That sponsored post about your condo? The one that went up 2 hours ago? My lawyer screenshotted it. Delete it now or we add wire fraud to the eviction. She scrambled for her phone, fingers shaking. Mom made one last attempt. You'll regret this. When you're old and alone, you'll regret pushing away your family. I'm not pushing away family. I'm removing parasites. Dad flinched. Amy sobbed. Mom collapsed into a chair. Mr. Mitchell, I said calmly, let's go. We left them there, in the condo I'd bought with dreams of family harmony. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is the truth, even when it costs everything. My phone exploded before we reached the parking garage. 47 messages in 10 minutes. Aunt Patricia. How could you humiliate your mother like that? Uncle Tony, let's talk about this rationally. Random cousin. Amy's having a breakdown. Hope you're happy. Rachel. Stand strong. They needed this wake-up call. I muted all of them. Mitchell walked me to my car. You did well in there. Stayed calm, stuck to facts. I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's normal. You just performed major surgery on your life. There's going to be pain before healing. Amy's Instagram was already imploding. The house tour video, gone. The property mogul posts, deleted. But the internet never forgets. Someone had already created a Twitter thread. Influencer claims she owns sister's 500K condo, gets evicted at her own fake housewarming. It went viral within hours. By evening, Amy's follower count dropped by 3,000. Comments flooded her remaining posts. Fake rich is worse than honest poor. Your sister is a queen for this. Imagine being this entitled. Mom tried calling 17 times. Dad, surprisingly, only once. He left a voicemail. I'm disappointed in how you handled this. We're your parents, Isabel. That should mean something. It did mean something. It meant they'd had 32 years to treat me like a daughter instead of a bank. They chose not to. Sarah texted. Saw the video. Iconic. Drinks tomorrow? Yes. all the drinks. That night, I sat in my actual apartment, small, rented, but mine, and felt something I hadn't experienced in years: peace. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't waiting for the next financial emergency, the next guilt trip, the next family crisis that somehow became my responsibility. I was free. Amy went nuclear on social media within 24 hours. First came the victim video, filmed with perfect ring light tears. My own sister is evicting our elderly parents because she's jealous of my success. This is what happens when family members can't handle your glow up. The comments didn't go as planned. Girl, you lied about owning the place. Your sister bought it and you claimed it was yours. That's fraud. Team Isabel all the way. She deleted it within an hour, but screenshots spread like wildfire. Next came the gaslighting attempt. There's been a misunderstanding about my living situation. I never claimed to own the condo, just that it was my home. Someone immediately posted her deleted stories. Blessed to be a 28-year-old property owner, and just closed on my dream condo. By day 3, she'd lost 8,000 followers and 2 brand partnerships. The wellness tea company she promoted dropped her publicly. We cannot associate with individuals who misrepresent their circumstances. Then the desperate DMs to my work email started. Izzy, please, my career is ruined. You've destroyed everything I've built. I'll pay you back the 15K if you let us stay. I forwarded them all to Mitchell. Mom took a different approach, weaponizing the extended family. She called every relative with her sob story. But Rachel had already shared the video of Amy's toast mocking me. The family split into camps, Team Isabel and Team Enabler. Grandma called me directly. Your mother says you're kicking them out. I'm reclaiming my property, Grandma. Good. Maybe Amy will finally get a real job. Even the family matriarch was done with the performance. But Amy wasn't finished. Her final attempt was a GoFundMe. Help my family displaced by heartless relative. It raised $37 from herself. Day 25, Dad called from a number I didn't recognize. Don't hang up. You have 60 seconds. I know we failed you, Isabel. I see that now. Now? After you're being evicted? I let your mother favor Amy. I stayed quiet when I should have spoken up. When you paid for my surgery, I knew what was happening. Then why didn't you stop it? A long pause. Because it was easier. You never complained. Amy always did. We took the path of least resistance, and that path was paved with your money and sacrifice. Is Mom there? No, she doesn't know I'm calling. His voice dropped. Isabel, I found the trust document. Really read it this time. You included the rental assistance clause from the beginning. You were protecting us even while protecting yourself. Someone had to. We didn't deserve that kindness. No, you didn't. Your mother, she's not handling this well. Amy neither. They're blaming everyone but themselves. And you? I'm 60 years old, looking at starting over because I let my wife and younger daughter turn my older daughter into a cash machine. His voice cracked. I'm ashamed. Shame doesn't pay rent, Dad. I know. I've already started looking for work, security consulting. My old colleague has an opening. Good. Isabel, is there any chance, any at all, that someday, maybe, but not while you're still married to someone who sees me as an ATM, and not while Amy thinks she's the victim? I understand. Do you? Because understanding means changing, not just apologizing. You're right, he paused. The movers come tomorrow. I know. I love you, Isabel. I know I haven't shown it, but goodbye, Dad. I hung up, my hands surprisingly steady. Day 30 arrived with surgical precision. At 9 a.m., the moving trucks pulled up. At 9:15, Amy posted a final desperate story, being forced from my home by family jealousy. At 9:17, her account was suspended for misleading information after multiple reports. The financial dominoes fell fast. Amy lost her 3 remaining sponsorships, total value around $30,000. Her entrepreneur image was destroyed. The marketing agency she'd been courting sent a formal rejection. Your recent controversies don't align with our brand values. She had to get a real job. Within 2 weeks, she was working retail at Nordstrom, the same store where she used to blow my money on designer bags. Mom and Dad moved to the riverside apartment I'd arranged. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, standard amenities. Mom called it beneath us. The landlord called it more than you can afford without your daughter. The condo? I rented it to a lovely professional couple for $4,000 a month. The income covers the mortgage plus profit. The property management company handles everything. I never have to step foot in it again. Mitchell sent a final invoice with a note. Consider this a victory for boundaries everywhere. The family manipulation industry lost a reliable customer. The extended family eventually settled into an uncomfortable truth. Isabel wasn't the villain. She was the victim who finally fought back. 3 relatives reached out privately, sharing their own stories of family financial abuse. Rachel started a group chat called Recovering Family ATMs. We meet monthly. The best part? My credit score jumped 20 points once I wasn't constantly covering emergency expenses. My savings account started growing again. My stress levels plummeted. Who knew that evicting toxic family could be so good for your health? Amy never did pay back that $15,000. But the freedom? Priceless. 6 months later, I had boundaries like Fort Knox. Dad reached out monthly, always respectfully, always brief. He'd started therapy, individual, not couples. I'm learning about enabling, he told me, and about the damage of passive parenting. Good. Your mother refuses to go. That's her choice. She still thinks you'll come around. Then she doesn't know me at all. Amy tried once to ambush me at my office. Security escorted her out. She screamed about family and forgiveness. I filed a restraining order. The judge, reviewing her harassment history, granted it immediately. Mom sent letters through relatives. I returned them unopened. Aunt Patricia tried to guilt me at Easter. Your mother cries every day. She should have thought of that before treating me like a servant with a savings account. Family forgives. Family respects. When she learns the difference, we can talk. The rental assistance ended month 6. Dad had his security job by then. Mom had to take a part-time position at a grocery store. Amy moved in with them, 3 adults in a 2-bedroom apartment, living on actual earned income for the first time. Meanwhile, I thrived. I started dating Marcus again. Turns out he'd been waiting for me to stand up to them. I knew you had it in you, he said. You just needed to believe it yourself. My therapy sessions shifted from crisis management to actual growth. Dr. Kim smiled when I told her about the eviction. You didn't just reclaim your condo, you reclaimed your life. The boundaries weren't walls, they were property lines. And everyone who wanted a relationship with me now knew exactly where they stood, on the outside, until they earned their way in through respect, not blood. Family isn't who you're born to, it's who deserves you. Year 2 brought unexpected changes. Dad divorced Mom. The papers arrived at her work, public and undeniable. He'd been planning it since month 3 of therapy. I spent 35 years enabling her narcissism and yours, he told me over coffee. Our first meeting in 18 months. I'm done. Why now? Because I watched her destroy our relationship with you for Amy's ego. Because she still thinks she did nothing wrong. Because I want whatever years I have left to mean something. Mom spiraled. Amy posted about being from a broken home until someone commented, "You broke it yourself, sweetie." The divorce revealed something interesting. Mom had a secret savings account. $40,000 she'd hidden while claiming poverty to me. The judge wasn't amused. Dad got his fair share, plus the car. Amy's redemption arc never came. She started a new Instagram, Rising from Ashes. It peaked at 300 followers. Her bio read, "Survivor of family betrayal." The comments were brutal. "You betrayed yourself with those lies, hun." She tried MLMs, drop shipping, anything to avoid real work. Each venture failed. The universe, it seemed, was done with her manifestations. But some family surprised me. Uncle Tony apologized, genuinely. I saw what was happening and said nothing. That makes me complicit. He started calling out Mom's behavior at family events. Margaret, stop playing victim. You stole from your daughter. Cousin Rachel became a real friend. We had lunch monthly, no agenda, no asks, just connection. You breaking free gave me permission to set boundaries with my parents too, she said. Grandma left me a voicemail. You did what I should have done 40 years ago. Stopped enabling bad behavior. I'm proud of you. The family wasn't healed, but it was honest. Finally. 2 years post-eviction, I sat in my new home, actually mine, purchased with the condo rental income, and reflected on what I'd learned. Love isn't measured in dollars transferred. It's not proven by sacrifice or demonstrated through suffering. Real love has boundaries, expectations, and mutual respect. I'd spent 30 years believing that being useful meant being loved. That if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, enabled enough, I'd finally be enough. But you can't fill a bucket with no bottom. You can't earn love that was supposed to be free. The hardest lesson? Family can be your first bully. The people who should protect you can be the ones you need protection from. And that's not your fault or your responsibility to fix. Dr. Kim called it breaking the codependency chain. I called it saving my own life. Marcus proposed on the anniversary of the eviction. The day you chose yourself, he said, was the day I knew you were ready for real partnership. We married small, 20 people who actually loved us. Dad walked me down the aisle. Mom wasn't invited. Amy found out through Instagram. The condo still generates income. I've never been back inside. The property manager sends photos for insurance purposes. The new tenants painted the walls yellow. Amy would hate it. I love that. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd never bought that condo. If I'd kept enabling, kept paying, kept shrinking. I'd be broke, bitter, and alone. Exactly what Mom predicted for setting boundaries. Instead, I'm financially stable, married, and surrounded by chosen family who see me as a person, not a payment plan. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's self-preservation. And self-preservation isn't just necessary. It's revolutionary when you've been taught that your only value is what you provide. 3 years later, I ran into Amy at a coffee shop. She looked different, older, tired, working a double shift based on her uniform. She saw me and froze. I could have walked away. Instead, I nodded. She approached cautiously. Isabel, Amy, you look good. Thanks. She fidgeted with her apron. I never really apologized for everything. No, you didn't. I'm sorry. Not because I'm broke or because my life fell apart, but because I treated you like you weren't human, like you only existed to fund my fantasies. Okay. That's it? Okay. What do you want, Amy? Forgiveness? Closure? Money? No, I wanted you to know I get it now. Working minimum wage, paying actual rent, being ignored unless I'm useful. I get what I put you through. Good. Do you think we could ever? No, some bridges don't rebuild, Amy. They're meant to stay burned. She nodded, tears real this time. I understand. I hope you do. I left her there. No guilt, no second thoughts. Forgiveness isn't required for healing. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is maintain the boundary. Your kindness should never be taken for granted. Your sacrifice should never be expected. Your money should never be the only reason family includes you. If you're the family ATM, the overlooked provider, the one who gives everything and gets nothing, know this: you deserve better. And better begins the moment you stop accepting less. Setting boundaries with family isn't cruel. It's the kindest thing you can do, for them and for yourself. Because family that only values your wallet doesn't deserve your heart. And you deserve both respect and love, not one disguised as the other. If my story resonated with you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Have you ever had to set firm boundaries with family? What was the hardest part? I read every comment, so please share your thoughts below. And remember, setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. Your worth isn't measured by what you provide, but by who you are. Check out my next video about recognizing financial manipulation in families and the 5 red flags you can't ignore. Thank you for listening to my story. You're not alone, and you deserve so much better.